Hey, good evening, everybody, and anybody who's out there listening. This is Big Bill coming to you live from Model Railroading Live, the number one model railroading show in the world, if not the universe. We will have our guest on. Let me just adjust my screen here so I don't look like I have Daffy Duck lips. In any case, yeah, welcome to Model Railroading Live. Who's Big Bill talking to? I'll bring our guest out momentarily. Today is June 16th, 2021. Can you believe we're in June? I think there's like 187 or 86 days till Christmas. And so we're doing pretty good there. So we're into June, and we're coming back. And I see we got Nancy and the Spirit of Colorado Railroad N Scaler. We have the Pixel Depot and Mojave Model Railroad. Tina, how are you? Pixel Depot, Nancy, how are you guys? I'm so sorry that we were away. We were away for a little while. I know. The heart, but absence makes the heart do grow fonder. And David BNSF and N Scale just popped in. Yeah, we've been away for a little bit. We had some guests we had one guest who had a medical family emergency, and he had to not be on, and which was quite understandable. You can't expect somebody to be here, and hopefully we'll have him rescheduled. And another gentleman who just for whatever reason didn't show up. So the time was spent searching high and low for new guests and stuff like that. So tonight's guest is pretty good. You guys have seen him before, and I'm so glad you guys came in. Randy's Rock and Roll Railroad is here, and Model Railroading Live. That's us, right? Yeah, I guess it is, because that's me. Anyway. Who else is on here that I haven't seen? New comments. I see new comments. Sarad. No, Sarad. Maybe later. John Arthur's in the house. Hey, John, how are you? Eric Hall. Hey, you're in the green room. Do not eat the shrimp. It's yes, it is. I've been Nancy and the Spirit of Colorado Railroad says I've been waiting to talk to you too. John Benecki. Hello. Welcome to the party, brother. This is where all the cool kids are hanging out tonight. And as you guys know, going forward, June, July, and August, our friend Johnny Reb will not be on with the Thursday night Johnny's Train Talk show, because he's taking a bit of a vacation, as my 3-year-old niece would say. Acation. He's taking acation. Yeah, so he's going to be out for a while. I called him up the other day, and he's been fishing and taking care of things around his house, and just living the life of Riley, I would suppose. But he seems pretty good. Eric Hall, you certainly are one of the cool kids, and you do not need to leave. And listen, sorry that we weren't around for a while, but like I said, things just happen. Life happens, and that's what we do, so unfortunately we had to take a break. I do apologize, because it really the onus rests on me, and I should have been more up to date with videos and putting it out there and saying, hey, why we weren't on, because I didn't, it just didn't really happen, and so that's on me. So I do apologize profusely for that. I should have been more in touch with you guys out there, because I know that you guys are big supporters of ours, and it's important to have you guys in our corner. So anyway, the Pixel Deep Cell says you're here now. What more can we ask for? Well, stack of 50s about that high would help, but I don't have that. So anyway, so let us, without further ado, let me bring my guest on, Mr. Robert Johnson. And there he is.
How you doing, Bill?
Hey, it's Robert Johnson. And Robert, how are you tonight?
I am great.
I want to thank you so much for coming on the show and taking time out of your busy schedule and your life and stuff like that to participate in this little banter of two guys talking model railroading and sharing with the model railroading, you know, guys out here. You guys may know Robert Johnson from On Track Tuesday. Rob, I got to say, when I say your name, I go back to that old sad day. Uh, what is that? Dean Martin used to have a skit, the Dean Martin show. Guy he could come on, his name was Robert Johnson, and he'd say, "Oh, you don't have to call me Mr. Johnson."
Oh yeah, that was Raymond J. Johnson.
Yes, Raymond J. Johnson. You don't have to call me Mr. Johnson. You can call me Raymond.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So most of you guys would know him, Robert from on Track Tuesday.
Yeah.
But
Hi everybody, John, Dave.
Yeah, John Arthur's here. John Benchecki, Eric Hall's here.
Yeah.
The Pixel Depot. My fan favorite is Nancy and the Spirit of the Colorado Railroad and the Mojave Model
Nancy?
Railroad. Tina.
Yeah. Hi, Tina.
Yeah, so it's good to have them on. So let's get into this. So it says your name and then the Flying Crow. What is the Flying Crow? What is that? Is that the name of your layout, or is that something?
So Flying Crow was the Kansas City Southern's first passenger train that they ran. Straight as the crow flies was the motto, and so I wanted something that was uniquely Kansas City Southern, even though I don't run passenger trains because my layout is set too late. But I thought that'd be a good channel, and nobody else has that name, so that's why I took it.
Oh, cool. And now we're looking at you, and in the background is this infinity.
Yeah,
like just keeps going to infinity and beyond. This is your layout? Where is your layout built? Is it in the house or
no? I built a shed out in the backyard specifically for my layout almost a year ago. It's 14 by 34 feet, and so that's.
Wait, I'm sorry, Robert. Say that again. 13 by what?
I'm sorry, 14 by 34 feet.
Oh, I thought you said 13. That 1 foot made a big difference.
Yeah, that's right. 14 by 34.
34.
13, who knows?
Yeah, 34. Let me look around here, see if I can. Yeah, no, I ain't got that. If I had to do 34 feet, I'd get thrown out of this house.
Well, that's why I'm in the backyard in the shed. Yes.
You built a shed. God bless you, brother. God bless you. You're really a model railroad enthusiast. Good for you. So now, how is this a wraparound?
Yes, it's a around the wall but with a peninsula in the middle. So I run down one side, up one side of the peninsula, down the other side of the peninsula, and then back up the other wall and across. And the only thing I've got left to do is the drop down section in front of my door to complete the loop.
So it's a continuous running, not point to point.
Correct.
Okay, and what is it? Now we earlier talked, and you said that you were from Longview, Texas. So is it a Texas-based railroad?
No, so it's Kansas. I grew up in Shreveport, Louisiana, and Kansas City Southern was one of the main railroads in Shreveport. Although it was a big railroad town, so the Cotton Belt, the Southern Pacific, the Mopac. The ICG all ran through Shreveport, but I grew up along the Kansas City Southern Shreveport sub, so that's what I was used to seeing, and I decided to model Central Louisiana and some of the things that you'd see in that area, like refineries, paper mills, that kind of stuff. So.
Right. What is your big industry on your layout? That's
the paper mill is probably the largest industry on my layout.
Yeah.
And it takes up one whole side of the peninsula, including the wood yard and everything. Yeah.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Yeah. What and in planning this building, I mean, obviously you had the room in the back, I would assume in the back of your house?
Yeah, it's in the backyard. So
the backyard. So when you planned this out, did you have these dimensions in mind? And
well, I wanted to go a little bit bigger, but Sometimes the wallet restricts you what you can do.
Yes, I hear that. I hear that.
So I went as large as my wallet would allow. That's what happened.
Okay. All right. Now, is it a wood or is it a steel?
It's a tough shed, so it's wood construction.
Okay.
So and luckily, Tough Shed also built the shelving around the outer perimeter, so that much was done when the shed was finished. So
When you
all I
say
had
that,
to do was build the peninsula.
you're saying the shelving was built by the company, is that
Yes,
something you contracted them to do?
yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. And you just built
I
the
built the
peninsula.
peninsula. Yeah, right.
Oh, good, 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 good. Now the ceiling, is that ceiling going to remain like that? Or are
No,
you going to
I'm gonna put so my backdrop is actually that hardboard, that 1/8 inch masonite,
Yes.
and that's what I'm gonna do on the ceiling as well. So I've put the insulation up, and now I just need to put the
Now
hardboard up above it.
now in Texas, do you get four seasons or is it like is it predominantly
So
hot, cold?
you get you get warm, hot, hotter, and hottest. That's the four seasons you
Ah,
get.
okay. Okay.
So
So
except this past year where we it was below zero for a week and we got a foot of snow. Now go
yeah,
figure that doesn't happen, but
I know. I remember hearing about that.
yeah,
So obviously it's air conditioned.
it is. Yes, I've got an air conditioner slash heater in the room, and it does a great job. So
Oh, okay. When you asked the company that built this shed to do this shelving, were they curious at least as to why they were doing that? And why
uh,
did you have them do that?
just to save me time.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and what they do is they put up. They will as additionally as part of your build, they will put up a workbench. Well, you tell them how much of a workbench you wanted, and I told them how much I wanted it to clear clear around the room. So they did it.
uh, yeah, that's not bad. So it's must be pretty sturdy construction.
It is. I mean, it's all on 2x4s and 3/4 inch plywood. So
Oh man, you can park a truck on that.
yeah, and then I put 4 inches of foam insulation on top of that, so that I could do scenery. I could dig down into the scenery if I needed
Oh,
to.
okay. I was just going to ask you that
Yeah.
in regards to this. And so right now you're in your track is all your track laid?
Except most of it. The whatever I'm going to do across the door, I haven't figured out whether it's going to be a slide up, a drop down, a lift out. I haven't decided yet, and so just that little section is all that's left for me to lay as far as track.
Right. Right. So basically you're operating on a prairie plywood.
Yeah.
No scenery, which is a good thing. How long has it been like that?
Well, it's there's a couple little spots where I put some scenery, but just to
Uh-huh.
kind of see what it looked like, and it's been, I've just kind of done it along with in the last year, so I haven't. Like I said, it took me about 8 months to get all the track laid and everything. So
Right, right. You weren't doing it were you in a hurry to do it?
yes and no. I want to make sure it's done correctly because it's going to be my final layout for the rest of my life, hopefully.
Yes.
And so I want to make sure it's done correctly. And but I'm in a hurry because I want to. I love operating. That's the big thing I love is
Right.
operating. So I want to do that.
Okay. And where did your beginnings of getting into the model railroading hobby? Where did that all start?
Well, I got my first train set when I was either 10 or 11, HO scale train set, but I mean before that I always loved trains. I remember my grandfather used to take me down to the passenger station and just watch the trains come in and out at the passenger station.
Right.
So we'd watch trains together, and then, like I said, I've always loved trains, but I got my first train set when I was about 10 or 11, and I still have a few pieces of it left, believe it or not,
Right.
and I've off and on through the years I've built smaller layouts, 4x8 layouts. My first one was a 3.5 by 4.5 that fit under my bed.
Uh-huh.
But so I've just off and on over the last 40 years, 45 years or so. I've 46, well, seven. It keeps going up higher the more I
Right.
think about it.
Right.
I've had several layouts, but now finally got my permanent one with my yard. So.
Yeah, I could see that yard behind you is like 30 some odd feet long.
Yeah, it
That's
is. It's
John Arthur wants to know, for power, do you run a line off your main breaker or multiple circuits?
so I put in a sub breaker panel off my main breaker box, and then ran the electricity out here for that. So
Uh-huh.
I buried some cable and a conduit underground. So
That must have been daunting. Well, they must have had the company do that as well.
no, I
Right?
did all that.
Oh, you did? Oh,
Yeah,
wow. Okay.
I dug the 18-inch deep trench, and
Yeah, you had to get below the frost line
yeah,
and stuff. Pixel Depot wants to know, did you design your own track plan?
I did. I did.
Yeah.
I did.
When you
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, in designing your own track plan and then putting it down on paper and then figuring it out on when you finally put it down, did it were there scratching your head moments like this isn't going to work?
No, the only problem I came up with is I used a program called SCARM. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Yes,
Yeah,
sure.
it allowed me one more track in my yard, and then could actually happen. So
Right.
I'm one less track than I thought I would be, but um, that was neither here nor there. It didn't really affect much. Otherwise, it laid out just pretty much exactly like it was drawn out.
Oh, that's good. That's very good. And in doing so and putting this down, now the components, what is the track you're using? What code?
I'm using Code 83 track, the Flex Tracks micro engineering, and I'm changing the switches over to the new Walters switches.
Right. You like them?
I do. I really
Yeah.
do. I've run on them for the past month now, and they've just done beautifully. I've not had one derailment on them.
Right. Now, when you're doing when you're doing the layout, and obviously the track is what, 3/4 put down so far,
Yeah, yeah, 7/8 maybe.
7/8. So now are you doing operations as you know?
I am. So what I'm doing, instead of making the full circuit, when I get to the last industry, I'll just turn the engines around and head back the other way.
Right. Right.
So
Just want to welcome in CSXGEET44AC. That is a lot to say, brother. But welcome aboard. I'm going to call you CSX, okay? Oh, CSX. I'll call you CSXGE. How's that? That work for you? Because it works for me. Because I can't say that whole thing. But anyway, welcome aboard, brother. Welcome aboard. Yeah. So how now? This is a continuous running. So obviously, you can't continuously run because you don't have it all the way around. But what types of industries are you planning on using?
So I've got a paper mill with a wood yard. Like I said, that takes up one side of my peninsula.
Right.
And on the other side, I've got a cement plant and a refinery, and then it goes into a pretty long straight run that I'll have to go through a town. And
Right.
then end up in, I've got an industrial section where I have a grain elevator, a plywood plant, um, an oil field equipment supplier, and stuff like that. So,
The plywood plant, that must be making gold because the price of plywood is like through the ceiling.
yeah, I wish I was making real plywood. I'd be rich.
Oh man, I was in Home Depot the other day and a sheet of 3/4 inch, the top grade plywood was $104. And
I'm glad I built this last year.
2x4s, 8-footers, 10-footers were like $40+. I
Um,
was like, you got to be kidding me, man. I just revamped my harbor scene here and I used repurposed. I repurposed. What I took down, I repurposed. And thank God I just made it. Just made it to the end. I had to go into the scrap pile downstairs to get maybe a 4-footer, but I was like, not going to pay that kind of money, you know.
well, I don't blame you.
And even the Homosote, you could get 3/4 inch up there in Home Depot and Lowe's for about 40 something dollars. Now it's like $50, $65. Mojave Model Railroad wants to know, how did he decide on the types? How did you decide on the types of industry he wanted for his railroad? And is there one we wanted that he wanted to add but didn't have the room to?
So since my railroad's set in central Louisiana, I tried to stick with industries that are, you know, based on that area. And there's in this area, there's wooden paper is a big commodity in central Louisiana. Wooden paper, petroleum refinery. You see that a lot. That's why I put on there. The only thing, and I do have a grain elevator because there's a lot of sugar and soybean, in Louisiana.
Right.
And so if there was one industry I could have put on but didn't have room for, it probably I would have had something like a scrap yard or something like that, to take scrap metal to, or a foundry or something like that. I don't have room for that, unfortunately, but that's probably the only thing that I could have thought maybe that I would have put on.
And on your model buildings, which leads me to, that was a great question, by the way, Tina. Are these out of boxes, or are you scratch building any of your structures?
I am going to do some scratch building, but for the most part, they're just Walther's kits.
Right. Well, you can always improve on the Walther's
kits.
Yeah,
there's a lot, and I am doing that. There's a lot of things I'm doing to change the Walther's kits.
Right. Now you're involved with On Track Tuesday. Now, who are the bunch of gangsters that you're with on that one?
Bunch of gangsters.
Yeah.
Well, everybody knows Wilmer Ulrey, who's his Indian Head Valley Railroad. He's a real gangster. You know that.
Oh, he's the gangster of love, baby.
Yeah, that's right. Yes. And then, of course, Redbird Tony.
Yeah, I know Redbird.
And then Dave Thurber from the Crooked River and Eastern.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know. Dave was a guest on our show, and so was Wilma. Wilma. And I think, I'm not sure if, I know. I'm trying to remember if Redbird Tony was on. I think he was supposed to be on, but he didn't. It's hard to remember.
Yeah.
But me and Wilma have a running thing going. He's, every time I get a guest on, I always ask, so I discovered you, and they always go, no, Wilma did. Indian Head. He first announced me, and I was like, so now you're new to the live streaming and everything. You've been on it for 9 months because you replaced Benny the Boxcar.
That's right.
And Benny's slot there and taking over them. So how do you like doing the live show? How do you like doing it? Do you find that to fill the content, the hour?
As far as filling the hour, it usually goes too quickly. So, yeah. Last night I was running a local that I didn't even get to finish with what I wanted to get finished with because the time ran out. So I usually find the time goes really quickly. If I live stream, of course, you can't do any editing. So
No. It's straight at what comes out stays out.
that's right.
And all the mistakes that you're doing and whatever happens is all for everybody to see, which I think is a pretty good thing because it just shows that you're just as, everybody else is like, wow, that happened to me. you
Yeah.
know I think the human side of us is because we always see those videos, where the guy's pushing it, the guy isn't pushing as the trains are running flawlessly and nobody's like nothing happens, but you know you like to see those incidental mistakes every once in a while. We got Jerry came in the house. Good
Hey,
evening,
Jerry.
Bill. And Late Night Model Railroad, hello.
Hey, late night.
And Mohammed Model Railroad says, as Robert lives in Texas, not sure if he lives in or near the tornado belt. Did he get separate insurance rider for his trains and layout? I'd hate to see him replace all that.
Oh, I did not. I don't have to. Luckily, my insurance covers the train shed as well. So
That's good. And my good
it's
Frank,
so,
yeah, Frank Delorio's in the house. What's up, Big Bill? It's my guest, Robert Johnson. If you guys are just tuning in now and having this is
Frank.
Robert. Yeah, Frank and I used to work together. So if you're tuning in, we're talking with Robert Johnson. He is Flying Crow. It's not the name of his railroad. He models the Louisiana, Arkansas, and his time period is 1976, Central Louisiana, and it's a 14 by 34 foot layout, separate shed built in the backyard. Now, Frank, you have a lot of property in the bank. This guy you should get in touch with because he could give you some pointers on building a layout room shed in the backyard of your house. He lives in New Jersey, Frank.
All right.
Yeah. So you enjoy doing the live broadcast, the live cat. What are some of the things that you've come to like about doing the broadcast?
Um, you know, as hard as it is, I do like the interaction. I like the chat. It's hard to keep up with it sometimes if you're actually doing something, but I do enjoy it. It's like somebody's there, helping you or talking to you, even though they're not really there. So
Yeah, true. What's the worst thing you hate about? What's the worst thing?
the worst thing is I hate not being able to keep up with the chat.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you miss a lot, and you feel like you're ignoring people when you're.
Yeah. Late night model railroad says my trains always run flawlessly. He says.
Like mine.
Yeah, the Pixel Depot video editing software is the easiest way for flawless running.
That's right.
And stuff like that. So when did you get the aspiration that, hey, did you, prior to this shed being built, did you have your layout or have a layout in your house itself?
I did when I had not in this house. I actually moved. One of the reasons we moved to this house was because the house we were living in had an HOA and just would not allow a shed to be built, and there was no other place in the house. So I did had a smaller layout in the garage. I took up half the garage, and I figured I'm 8 or 9 years away from retirement. I said I want to move to a place and have a model railroad that I want to have, and I don't want anybody telling me I can't build something in my backyard.
Right. Right.
So we started looking for new houses, and this not new, but new to us.
Yeah, sure, no.
And we ended up here, and then after we moved here, I had the shed built. And
How is your wife? And does she like this hobby? And Does she come and join you out there sometimes?
No, she's not a model railroader.
No. Okay.
She
Okay.
comes out here. She's nice. She comes out here and brings me water or coffee or whatever I want, And but she's just not a model railroader, so
Uh huh.
she probably likes having me out of the house once in a while too. So
Well, well, she knows you're not down at O'Malley sitting at a bar.
that's right.
You know what I mean. So that's a plus.
But I'm spending as much money as if I were.
Ah, that's true, 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 my friend, true. Mojave Model Railroad. Tina says, I'm trying to find land to build in the Vegas area that doesn't have an HOA. So I understand what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
HOAs are just they're what they are.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. So are you on a laptop right now?
I am.
Do you think you could give us a little bit of a tour? Would that be possible?
I can.
I think we all are used to taking our Dramamine, so we won't get so seasick.
So, let me see how I can do this. So I actually have a separate little camera. See?
Oh, okay.
So this is, let me see if I can hold this straight. So these are my 4 stub end tracks up at the end of my yard, what I call the north end of the yard. The last track there's going to have a piggyback ramp.
Uh-huh.
So, and then there's going to be a couple, like a freight house and a couple small things on the stub end. And then I hope I'm not dragging too much here. Hold on.
Eric Hall says, my wife does not bring me nothing to the train room. She might come into the train room and poke my body with a stick. She needs to figure out when the $1 million life insurance policy will kick in.
Yep.
I hear that, brother.
That
That is some yard.
So this is my, it's funny, from the time I got my first train set, all I could think about was having a big yard. And that's what I did. So
yeah. Is that an add-on to the yard, that board there, that brown board with the tanks
I
on it?
actually have a little, so this is, the shelf's 2 foot wide, and then I added another 9-inch here just so I could have another track with some industry along it. So, and that's going to be handled by the yard switcher. I'm going to have 4 industries on this track.
Wow, that is a yard and a half.
Yeah. So actually, it is just about scale length of the yard that was in Alexandria, Louisiana, which was so it's just about scale length of that yard.
I'm surprised you didn't put a working hump yard in there.
Yeah.
With the
yeah, it wasn't a hump yard, so there you go. I made it like that. So then I've got a shop down here and an engine facility. So these are going to be my engine tracks down here and my rip track. So, and then going around the back, this is the wood yard, the 2 tracks of the wood yard. So I've got my wood chip hoppers there.
Okay, nice.
And then this is the classification tracks for the paper mill. And then my paper mill is going to be here. It's 4 tracks. So those go up to the facilities, actually. And then, if I can get around here, I had to widen the peninsula at the end just to get the turnaround in it.
Oh yeah.
And so this is, and then this is my cement plant. I've got most of it built, not all of it. So that's what's going here. I'm going to do cement and asphalt in this plant. So, and then my cords always. I have to hook into my network with a cable because the even the range extender doesn't work real well out here. So so I'm actually got a Cat 6 cable strung out to the. So there's the cement, like I said, and then these are going to be. This is going to be my refinery here. I've got 2 refinery tracks.
Wow.
They can hold at least 7 cars each. So 14 cars on the refinery tracks. And then see how far down I can get here without. And then this curves around down here, and I've got down at the end. I'm just going to have a little pasture scene, as you can see, cows out there. This is one of the little spots I've seen it just kind of testing out things.
Are you proficient at scenery?
I'm okay at it.
Oh, so then you can come to my house and help me.
Yeah, all right.
I stink at scenery.
Yeah, it's one of those things too. The more you do, that the easier it gets, I guess. So.
Mojave Model Railroad. Tina wants to know: did you paint your own background scene? Yeah, background.
Yes.
You did. Nice.
Yeah.
Mojave Model Railroad. Tina just said that she just subscribed to your channel.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
This channel is scrolling on the bottom of our thing there while you're watching, so don't hesitate to go and check out his YouTube channel and to subscribe to it.
Yeah, thank you. And as I come around, I'm actually going to have a swamp there. So, which is something you see is ubiquitous in Louisiana.
Did you just say ubiquitous? I don't even know that.
Ubiquitous, yes.
Rob, I got to tell you, using the only big word I know is delicatessen and pharmacy. Okay, so you got to stop using those high school level words on me because I get very confused.
All right.
Okay.
Well,
all right. Just putting it out there.
There's a lot of swamps in Louisiana.
Yeah. Okay.
They're all over the place. So that's what I'm going to build in there with some cypress trees, with moss hanging off of them.
Nice.
So that's what's going to go there, and then as it comes across, it's going to go into the town, and so here's my. One of the roads I've done going into the town. So
nice, very nice.
Yeah. So, and then the town's all going to be here. I wanted a nice straight run, with just one single track going through it. So that's what I decided down here.
Right. The beauty of this layout is that you can let, like, while you're working on some stuff, building a building, you can let a train run.
I can,
and just get the that whole feel for the train and everything, and stuff. That's really nice.
Yeah, thanks. I and that's one thing. That's why I did all the way around, or want to finish doing that, because if I am working on scenery or something, I can just let a train run. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be 4 industries here. 2 on this track and 2 on this one here. So my plywood plant's going to go there. I'm going to scratch build. So that's
nice.
going to be my big adventure in scratch building, my plywood plant. So
you'll do great. Just take your time.
Yeah. And then here I've got my grain elevator up there, and this second track's going to be a team track, and then the main line's actually going to switch off of what goes straight is going to be my interchange track, where I'm going to take cars off and on the layout.
Oh, okay.
And it's going to go around, and there's the door again. So, and the door is going to have a lift up, drop down, whatever section in front of it.
All right. Tina wants to know, how do you guys get 2-inch pink foam? We can only get 1-inch foam here in Vegas. I was told it was because of the weather. They don't carry 2-inch pink foam.
Really?
And Pixel Depot says you have to live somewhere cold, Tina.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I got this here. I'm in Texas, so it just I don't know. I got it at Home Depot. So I know it's funny that Lowe's does not carry it, but Home Depot does, which is really strange. So I don't know. Maybe go check one or the other.
Yeah, John Banicki says that I live in northern Indiana and we always have 2-inch foam.
Yeah.
John Arthur says we can't get Homosode here, which is weird, Virginia, but we do have 2-inch foam. Randall Ellis is in the house. Hello, everybody. Hello, Randall.
Yeah, so one thing I did was I did 2-inch foam layers, and I used that to if I want to dig down into it for a lake or a river or something like that, then that's what I can do. I can dig pretty deep into it. So that's why I did 4-inch layer of foam there. So.
And Dwight Kernley is in the house. Dwight, how are you? Eric Hall says pink foam is normally not found in places that have low humidity. Dry and heat excludes a lot of stuff. Could be regional. I know Home Depot is. I used to work for them years ago, and they order regional stuff. I was surprised when people from out of state would come to the Home Depot where I worked in Brooklyn, and they would say, "Oh, we don't have this," and it was a Brooklyn, New York metropolitan thing, So, Tina says he has AC and heat. Does he have a humidity control in there as well, being in Texas? Last time I was in Texas, Tina says, I just about died with the humidity.
Yeah, and you will, believe me. But the air conditioner handles it, so.
Yeah.
It's I think my air conditioner is rated for like 800 square feet, and the shed's 476 square feet. So it's not, with the insulation, it's not having any problem. So.
Do you think you should have finished? I'm just saying. Do you think you should have finished the ceiling first before building the layout?
Yes and no. I wanted the trains running.
yeah. I'm in the same situation as you. I built the layout, then I put the lighting up.
Yeah.
And if I would have had my druthers, I would have done the lighting differently. Because what I would have done was I would have put a fan, a ceiling fan in the room attached to the lighting.
Yeah.
So I would have done that different. But I had an electrician. I had a friend do the lighting, and because he was a friend, and he owed me a favor, he did it. It's not done, but it's not finished the way I would have liked it to be finished. So I had an electrician came in, and the guy said to me, he gave me a fair price, which I thought, but he actually begged off the job.
Wow.
Because he said he didn't want to be responsible if anything should break on the layout, So I was like, well, if you're that, I appreciate your honesty. I think he would have, because he said he would have to take the whole lighting thing down and then start all over again. So
I put LED. These are LED shop lights that are up in here now that I put up, and so it's it is what it is. I don't think I'll have any problems since I'm not using sheetrock for the ceiling. I'm just going to use that 1/8-inch
right.
Night. I don't think it's going to be a huge problem putting that up. If
Yeah.
it was sheetrock, yeah, I would have said definitely put sheetrock up first. But
Yeah. Yeah. Tina says that in Vegas today it was 119.
wow, it just
John,
felt like 119 here today.
yeah, and John Arthur says, "No way, Bill. Got to run trains," meaning about the
Yeah.
what do we call it? And Tina wants to know how many people can Robert have in their room to run operations, and what DCC system does he use?
So I could probably see 4 people in here. Uh, Beyond that, unless they really liked each other, I wouldn't get any more than 4 people in here.
Got to be really, really have a bromance going on. If
Yeah,
there's
that's
more
right.
than four.
And
Yeah, yeah,
so 3 people would be comfortable. 4 would be stretching it. Yeah.
yeah,
And 5, I just don't know. But
yeah.
Tina, I use an NCE system.
NCE. Okay. Dave BNSF Nscale says it was only 113 where he lives. I myself usually in the city, New York City. I live in the borough of Staten Island. New York City summers are pretty hot and humid, and usually what happens like June, July, August, I usually shut down the South Brooklyn Railroad and take a hiatus. But I take a break from it. But what I did is I went and got myself an air conditioner, and I got it put in the window, and I'm running AC, so I hope to be in the room June, July, and August. It was pretty good air conditioned too, because the guy that I got it from, he lived in the basement, so I took it right out of the basement window. So I don't think he'll miss. If he does miss it, well, I was long gone before he came home. So anyway, Mike Lambertino, long time no see, Michael. How are you? Uh, but yeah, now we got air conditioning in here, so we're gonna be comfortable at least, and
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
like that. You got to be comfortable. Got to be comfortable.
Plus, on the practical side is, what happens to your track with the heat and the cold and the heat and the cold. You're going to have track problems with a lot of temperature swing and humidity.
Yeah, no, that is so very, very true. Have you had any problems with that?
Not one.
Not
No.
one.
I keep my my AC/heat running, and it hasn't really added anything to the electric bill. So,
What about in the falls? What are the temperatures in your fall season?
well, late fall, I can turn it off because it'll stay really comfortable. It'll get down in the 40s at night, and in the
So, but
60s during the day.
so if the temperature outside is like 55, what's the ambient air in the room?
It's usually right around 70 if the sun's been shining.
Oh, okay, that's
It's-
comfortable.
yeah. So,
That's very
yeah,
comfortable.
65 to 70. So it's just perfect, really.
And what kind of motor power do you use to run that gigantic layout of yours?
Um,
Diesels?
oh yeah, it's all diesel. So I've got about 22 or 23 locomotives, and I've
How
got
many?
22 or 23.
Okay.
I've got F units. I've got Jeep 38. I've got Jeep 7s, Jeep 9. I've got some SD40s, Jeep 30s. Quite a mix, but it's all exactly what KCS was running in the 70s. So
Yeah, yeah. Eric Call, thank you. Didn't go out of the park for you, brother. CNL line says, "Hi, hope all your night is going great," and stuff like that. Let's see. True, more like standing in front of an open oven taking a dip in the kiddie pool is some kind of wonderful. Yeah, that's how he lives in Arizona, Eric. Do you know Eric Hall? IMRRO.com.
no, I mean I've seen him of course, on the chats.
Wild Hair LLC. He does 3D printing now.
Oh, okay. Good.
Check him out. Good
will,
stuff. Good
absolutely.
stuff. He makes barriers, N scale jersey barriers, HO, and you know, talk him into anything and stuff like that. So I lost my train of thought there. I'm sorry, Robert, because Eric just threw me off, and I hate when he does that. He gets in. He lives rent free in my skull, so I hate that. Pirates of Model Trains. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, so John was asking, do I custom paint most of my roster? About
That was the question I was going to ask.
yeah, about probably about half of it. I've had to custom paint.
Yeah.
Nobody really wants to touch KCS in the '70s, and I don't know why.
Mike, he does. Mike's just turning in. This is Robert Johnson. He does. He models the Louisiana, Arkansas, and the period of in central Louisiana, 1976. His HO scale. It's HO scale, and it's a separate shed that's in his backyard, and it's 14 feet by 34 feet, and it's been up about a year. And his track is flex track, it's micro engineering, and he uses Walters switches and code 83.
That's it.
And he does with KC. Those KCs those locos are pretty impressive. I like the white and the red. And you custom painted all those?
A lot of them I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you weather them, or do you?
I do. So this is my. I just happen to have this Jeep 38 sitting here. So
Just happen to have it. Oh, I like that. It's so ugly. It's pretty.
Yeah. So I had to paint this one and weather it. So it was actually an undecorated Atlas, and I had to do there's a lot of little things I had to do to it to make it right. The front porch was wrong, so I had to fix that, and I bought this off of eBay. The none of the Jeep 38s I've found have come with the extended range dynamic brakes, so I bought this section off of eBay and put it on there. And other things, the horn, beacon light, and all that kind of stuff.
Here's a question that I'd like to know: in a large layout such as this and the ongoing construction, how do you clean your track?
I know people will hate me, but I use a Bright Boy.
All right, this interview's over. Thanks, Rob. Take care.
I have always used a Bright Boy. I've never had any problems. So, I'm not averse to other ways of cleaning track. It's just
no, I'm always curious to find out. How when a layout, and anybody's layout, regardless if it's a 4x8 or a shelf layout, how they upkeep their track. And it's just interesting that you get so many
let me tell you something about that. I bought a Bright Boy. I had a 4x6 layout when I was 14, and I bought a Bright Boy, and I still have it.
Oh.
The exact same one. So
I here's what I would recommend if you use the Bright Boy, and this was passed on to me by a good friend of ours, Ralph Renzetti. Get yourself a 2-inch stainless steel washer, and glue it to a block of wood.
Okay.
And then after you use your Bright Boy, run the steel washer over the track.
Did see that, and
because it takes off the scratches from the Bright Boy. It evens them out.
I think Brian Page was talking about. I don't know if you know Brian Page.
No, I do not.
He was talking about that on one of his videos. Yeah, that sounds like a great idea, and I think I'm going to do that. But you're right; it does leave some residue behind and scratches, and I think that'll kind of buff it out.
Just get a 2-inch washer and glue it. Epoxy it to and just use it over the thing. Randall Ellis says, I'm working tonight, Big Bill, waiting for a crew to bring a train into Thea. Eric Hall says it's a huge empty space too, meaning the area. Thinking about building a 7-foot to a 7-inch to a foot railroad in here. And where is it? CSX GE says, that KCS is gone.
Oh, well, we'll have to get rid of him. Take him out of the chat.
Well, it's his model railroad. He can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, not in 1976. It was still.
No. I mean, it's still you're just bringing back memories. My layout, my railroad is gone too. So, but it's still you're doing something.
Yeah. And somebody said I think it was Split Rock said something about the striped handrails, and that's why I know if you can see my striped handrails there.
Oh, okay.
He said that's why no one paints KCS in that era.
Yes, Mike Lambertino wants to know, do you have a YouTube channel? If we could just have the YouTube channel put up on the bottom there, that would be greatly appreciated. There we go. YouTube.com at C/Flying Crow. That will bring you right to his and the reason why it's Flying Crow, please go and explain why that is.
Okay, so when I named my channel, I wanted something that was uniquely KCS, and that was the name of their first passenger train, the Flying Crow. Straight as the crow flies was their motto. And although I don't run passenger trains, I wanted to have something that was uniquely KCS. And so the only other passenger train was the Southern Belle, and I didn't want to call myself Southern Belle, so Flying Crow won out on that one.
Yeah. Tina says of Mojave Model Railroad, she says, I need a cool train name like Flying Crow.
Hey, Mojave's cool.
Yeah, she says all the cool kids have the cool nicknames in this hobby. And stuff like that. Yeah, that's his YouTube channel. Please go and check out Robert Johnson on the YouTube channel, because it's that is such a very interesting layout you have there, Robert.
Well, thank you.
And it really is. And so on your when are you up on Track Tuesday? When are you up on them again?
I do the third Tuesday of the month, so I just did last night, in fact. So another month, another 4 weeks away. So.
Oh, all right. Do you have anything planned for that night? And you just give guys a heads up?
No, I normally don't plan until the day before what I'm going to do. So.
So you get the tomato, and then the day of the show, that's when you make the salad.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. That's the best way. Sometimes on the fly is the best way to do it, because the best shows come out of that.
Well, it's just, if you try to plan it too far ahead, things change so much. So, and then you realize, oh, hey, I could do this instead of that. So,
yeah. Tina wants to know, did you do all the wiring? I mean, he must have a bunch of feeders for a layout that size.
Yes, I did drop all the feeders. I did all the wiring. I've run all the electricity out here. I did all the lights. I don't run feeders probably as often as is recommended. I notice they say every 3 feet. Some people say 6 feet. I don't even do them that often. I just find it's at least for me, it hasn't been necessary. I run my trains, and if I find that there's a place where there's a hiccup, I'll drop a feeder. And it usually ends up being around every 8 or 9 feet.
Well, you basically too. Also, your layout is mostly straightaway too.
Yeah.
You don't have those go around. Diverge into a mountain scene. It's all flat. Is that the Louisiana territory? Is it basically the topographics as a flat area?
It's flat. A lot of when they say hills in Louisiana, you're talking something that's 20 or 30 feet high.
Okay. Okay.
You know,
It's
I mean,
not it's not the Adirondacks.
no, no, you get hills. I mean, you know, there's really no terrain that's flat. There's no such thing as flat terrain anywhere. Even if you get out in Kansas, you know, you know, there's variances in terrain, and in Louisiana, you know, you can vary in an area probably 100 feet up and down. So it's basically what you would call flat. A lot of
Right.
woods, you know, pine trees, loblolly type pines, that kind of
Right.
stuff.
CSXGE says he has an HO scale layout.
Yep.
Good. Uh, Mohammed, it's getting late. Tina from Mojave Model Railroad says, how many amps is he running on a layout that size? Does he have it broken up into different zones?
Yeah, I have 3 zones. I have my yard, my peninsula, and then the other side of the shed. Here's the 3 zones I've broken it up to, and I just use a 5 amp smart booster. 5 amps is sufficient for it.
Right, right. On your NCE, have you had any hiccups with the system itself?
The only hiccup I had is my smart booster uh, melted down. I don't know why.
Uh-huh.
And
Really?
so it's NCE's repairing it right now as we speak.
Right,
So
right.
it's still under warranty. So they're going to send it back whenever they finish repairing it. But with otherwise, I've really had no problems with it. I've had great success with it. It's
Yeah,
been a good
yeah.
system, and it's simple to use. I find the simplicity of NCE systems what I like. I've used a couple other systems, and I haven't found anything as simple as NCE to use.
Yeah, Container Man 68 says crows don't fly in zones.
Roy likes to give me a hard time.
Uh, and he also, what else did he say? He said, remember New Orleans is under sea level.
That's right.
You know,
It is.
it is. And Michael Lampertino, we possible to see some of the layout. We did an earlier view, a walk around of it, and could you just give a little for
Yeah.
Mike? I only do this for you, Mike, because I love you. I love you like a brother. Not necessarily my brother, but I love you like a brother.
Yeah. So I won't give the full thing, but this is the
That's
this
the
is the
yard.
wall.
That's the yard, Mike. Look at that yard. 30 feet, 34 feet long.
Yeah.
Minke.
So and then over on this side of the peninsula is the marshalling yard for the paper mill, and all the way down are 2 tracks that go into a wood yard, and then up this way are there's 4 tracks into the paper mill facility. So when I get it built, and then I've got a cement plant here, and an oil refinery down there. 2 tracks hold 7 to 8 cars on each track, and then I'm going to have it run down past the pasture at the end, and a swamp area, and then into a town. And this, I'm just walk down here a little bit. So this is my pasture area.
Is that one track is just going to be there? That one curved track is going to.
That's all that's going to be there.
Yeah,
I wanted a nice long straight run. Yeah, well, it's not
Nice.
straight, but it's just a
But
single track run. You know.
Right. Nice road there too. Nice.
Yeah.
That would be different and unique having that one train as it came around the bend. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I just I think on a layout, if you have the room, you should really plan on having just a single track run where just surrounded by scenery.
Yeah.
And I understand if you don't have the room to do that, but
It'd be especially nice if at that where the curve comes out, like if you put a copious of trees there, so it it appears like it's coming out of, or buildings, high buildings that are
right.
that are there.
Yeah, absolutely. And there will be a lot of trees. I'm probably going to have couple thousand trees in the end on this layout. So
Yeah.
There was an article in the 1975 issue of Railroad Model Craftsman called "The Scenery's the Thing," and it was about a guy. I forget where he was. I think he was in Colorado or someplace. Had a very large layout, and it had very little track and a lot of scenery. and it's and that article always impressed me. I mean, to this day, I mean, it's almost a 50-year-old article, and
Right.
I still remember it.
Right. Yeah, 50. Yeah, exactly. 75. Sure.
Yeah.
70. I just was out of high school.
Oh, so it's it doesn't seem, it shouldn't be 50 years ago, but it was.
I know.
Yeah.
It's big. Well, Robert, thank you so much for being on Who's Big Bill Talking To. It was so nice to see this layout and finally get a chance to talk to you. And I do appreciate you taking the time out of your very busy schedule and away from your family to be in on doing this with us. And it's greatly appreciated. So your YouTube channel is youtube.com/C/Flying Crow.
That's it.
Yeah. Tina says that was just an impressive layout. Thank you, Robert, for sharing. And
thank you, Tina. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that is really, we have to come back to you in a later date and get an update and see where you're at with that. And that looks really good. So thank you so very, very much for being on, Robert.
Hey, Don't go in. My pleasure. Thank you for having me. Really.
Oh no, it was our honor. Really, it was. Don't go anywhere yet as we sign off. Just want to tell you guys that we're going to try to have another show. I'm lining up a guest right now as we speak. And that guest, I'd love to get Tina on this because she did say June, and we are in June. So if Tina could shoot me out an email to South Brooklyn, SOUTHBKLYN@gmail.com. I'd greatly appreciate to hear from you, Tina, because I think you'd make a fabulous guest. You helped me out tonight on these questions. You were very instrumental and very knowledgeable. And I'd love to talk to you. Same thing with Nancy, the Colorado N-Scale thing. I'd love to have you on as well, Nancy. So please, guys, reach out to me if you want to be on Who's Big Bill Talking To. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm in the process of trying to get a guest for next week. I sent out a couple of emails, but I haven't got any replies. So we'll keep you updated. And I promise you, we won't be off that long. And if we are, I will definitely give you a heads up on that. And we are in the summertime, and things are, unfortunately, I didn't get my beach body together. So, I'm spending a lot of time indoors. And, but with that said, I just want to thank you for being on. I want to thank our guest, Robert Johnson, for being aboard. And again, I'm sorry to Rod Stewart. Tried to get you in, buddy, but Lionel Strand, same thing. Thought we'd have time for you guys, but unfortunately not. We ran out of time. So with that said, you be well, you be safe. Most of all, you be blessed, and we'll see you guys on the radio. Take care and good night.
Come with me, my friend, to the basement again, to my miniature world of trains.
Wow, that was a close one. Glad that engineer got the train stopped there before the track bumper. That's what I'm going to talk to you about today, is track bumpers. I made about, 30 or 40 of these, and let's take a close-up look at them. Here they are. They're just 3D printed. I did try and make the boards look like they were kind of staggered and like the concrete had been formed. So the big question is, why did I make them, and why did I make 30 or 40 of them? Well, first of all, the railroads, in a large part, had a look about them. And that look oftentimes, said this is the SP, or this is the Northern Pacific, or the Rock Island, or whatever it is. So on my railroad end there in the east and west bottoms, I wanted all the bumpers to look alike, or at least have the same flavor. So I printed up 2 or 3 different varieties of these different board patterns so they wouldn't all look exactly like, but I did print up about 30 or 40 of them so that they could all go at the end of the tracks. And that's the lesson here, not that you can 3D print a bumper. Anybody can do that has a printer or has a friend that has one. But it's more a lesson in understanding that the railroads had a personality and that they had a look. And whether or not it's track bumpers or signage or whatever, take a look at the railroad that you're modeling. Again, it goes back to the old thing of model what you know, that old clinic that I watched that the guy, I think from California or from Canada did, that was absolutely fantastic. But be sure and get the look of your railroad accomplished on your railroad, especially if you're copying a prototype. So until we meet again, go into your railroad room and let your trains put a smile on your face.